So I think this is really the key, understanding that nothing happens just because, that we have a role in our lives, that we are the captains of our ship, and that we have to take accountability for this as well, and we have to own it. We have to own our lives. We have to own our mistakes. We have to own our pains, and we have to let the other people also do the same with their lives, no, and give them room. This can happen.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the On the Ball podcast, where we have curious conversation about life, career, spirituality, and anything in between. My name is Eniko Toth, a civil engineer turned world traveler, public speaker, trainer, and Toastmasters champion. My goal is to bring you inspirational topics and people that can help you find your own definition of success. When you are ready, it is time to be on the ball. This podcast will be truly inspiring for you and probably for many people you know. So please share the link of the podcast with them. Also, a quick reminder, hit the subscribe and love buttons to get notified about the upcoming episodes. Then share a rating and a review if you like what you are listening to. My guest today is an environmentalist who is a fan of solving impossible challenges. Chale Guadamuz is a Nicaraguan human rights defender and the current director of the Hague Peace Projects. In his past, he did over a decade of work in the corporate world, mostly in the world-class companies in Latin America, US, and Europe. But after taking part in the uprise in 2018 in Nicaragua, he was imprisoned, then forced into exile. Now he is the leader of the team of people that are committed to have a positive impact on the world. His work focuses on strengthening the capabilities of peace builders and changemakers. Chale believes that we need a global effort to deal with global issues. We need to change the narrative from what we want as countries to what we want as humanity, and then work our way towards achieving that. This is the first episode of a 2-episode series with Chale. Today we will dig deeper into Chale's passion about the environment. He will share his connection with Mother Nature and his way of growing up in Nicaragua. Chale will also share his views on developing our relationship with nature in the Western world, where we seem to be so distant from it. I'm very excited for this chat and for learning more about our ancient truths. So when you are ready, we are going to get started. So welcome back to the On the Ball podcast, where our guest is Chale, the current director of the Hague Peace Project. It's a privilege to have you here, and I'm so happy that I can welcome you to this podcast.
Thank you, Eniko, for having me on the podcast. I'm really excited to take part in this as well, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, so do I. We had a short chat before, and I think we are going to have some great conversation and great answers here.
I also really like the fact that the focus that you have, on like on success, also like with young people. I think this is really powerful. I think people need to hear this, and yeah, I think young people also need to be encouraged by the fact that that it's been hard for every generation before them, right?
Yes.
But definitely like new opportunities are available there. So for me, it's really nice to take part in a podcast that revolves around this idea, because it's something that I really vibe with, and it's a lot of the work that I put into. So yeah, for me it's pretty much it's a privilege, to be able to take part in your podcast.
So my very first question to you is that, as I mentioned, you're working with the Hague Peace Project, and I got involved with this project, and I think it's incredible. And what you have built is something incredible and something different. And you were talking about, as I mentioned before, building a global effort for creating something for the humanity. So how can we change the narrative from what we think as countries to what we think as humanity?
That's I like that question. This is, and so for my experience, it's this came out of a need, no. It came out of being into the struggle of an uprise, and then really coming to Europe and to the Hague in this case, to look for help, for help from the international community of how to deal with the situation that we were having at that point in Nicaragua. And what I found is that this help, the way that I had imagined it, was not really available in that sense. And after being here for a while, I realized that it's very difficult to relate to the challenges that other people are facing in the planet when you're so surrounded by safety and comfort, and especially that you have to go a long way in order to change that sort of like comfort zone. And that was really, understanding this, like brought a little bit of frustration for me, because I didn't know how we could tackle something like this. But I think what really moved me is that it helped me see it from the other way. Like in Nicaragua, I was, I come from a fairly privileged family, and in Nicaragua, we also have, in Latin America in general, we have this social differentiation and social structures, no, and this is so has come to be so normal for us that we almost don't see it. So when I came here, sort of like coming from the other side of the coin, from the side that needed help, I finally understood the lack of connection that also we had, and back in Nicaragua, by being part of this of being part of the privileged part of the society, no. So I think for me that was really like the biggest challenge there, to be able to understand um, how does it look like from the other side, and also how is it possible for people to come together into something that makes sense for them, not only in terms of just, yeah, I'm going to help because I have the possibility of helping, or because I have a certain privilege that like should come with a certain amount of duty to it, but rather from understanding that this is something that we're all together in, and that our everyday effort is something that we have to do because it counts. So I think for me, understand like getting to understand that the relation to this idea has to go deeper, has to go deeper with, in the connection with ourselves, in the connections with understanding that we're not really an island, no? So we don't go through life alone. We affect everyone in the way with the actions that we take, and being more aware of the actions that we take is something that really comes from self-work. I feel it really comes from people taking the time to explore themselves, and to do a lot of self-assessment in order to get to that point. So for me, this was very powerful, because it made me understand that it's not something that you can push on people. It's something that people need to understand on their own terms, and they need to see and to understand that they have this they hold this power, and that this power is something that should be used according to the goals that they have, their own personal growth, their own personal goals for growth. So I think that was the part like it really hit me that you have to make this connection yourself in a way.
So, how do you start with that connection within yourself? And then from that on, how do you build it to be a global effort and bring in the people?
So for me, it really started, building that connection was easier because I really bypassed it through nature. So like I was an environmentalist before getting into the peace work. And and when you work with nature, this connection is overwhelming. It's really just very present there. When you dive yourself into like a rainforest or something like this, you understand that you're a part of an ecosystem, and you understand that you don't hold this power that we feel every day, that we hold, but more that we have this connection with these ecosystem that nourishes us. So for me, that was easier to understand it that way, and then I really just moved it to the idea of people in general, because in the end we're all nature, no, and we're all like really part of the same thing. So it's easy to move that from one side to the other. I think if you don't have that link in your process, then it becomes a little bit trickier, because people are sometimes rough. So like with nature is a different process. You get to find peace very often. Like at least in the rainforest, if you can deal with the mosquitoes, you can probably find peace. uh
Yes.
but but with people it's different, because we have our own interests, right? So we're swo- we're in these lives where it's our interest competing with the interests of literally everyone that we meet throughout our days. Even when we get into like work relationships, sort of like romantic relationship, friendships and stuff like that, there is always this sort of like checking back, like this balance being kept, no, whether people are putting enough, whether people are being kind enough to each other and stuff like that. And and it's kind of like something that has to be like socially, something that has to be earned. So if we don't get that, we start sort of like distancing ourselves from other people. And that's a completely different method, like that's a completely different like system than what it works with nature. So I would say that it's, for me, the most powerful element there is understanding that life is difficult for everyone, like regardless, right? It's like we all have these problems that are of this incredible magnitude, and we don't know how to solve them in our lives. And there is no, there's no bringing down like the how big these problems can be for someone, just because this someone is not like suffering in prison or something like that. And understanding that we all have our struggles, that we all are looking to get something in life done, and this is a massive challenge for us, and that each of us has our own path that has to follow, and that there is no comparison between the path of one person and the path of another person. um, I really, that brought me a lot closer to understanding this connection, and to be able to overcome sort of like these barriers, into collaborating with other people, into understanding, that their struggles are as important as the struggles of everyone else. That there is no competition, and I am doing worse, and therefore, because you're doing better, you're obliged to help me. But rather, that it has to be something that has to come from a position of trust, that has to come with from genuine interest to help someone else because we want someone else's life to be better, not because we feel guilty about, just having a life that is better than the other ones. And this has been the main thing that when I approached peace work for the first time, I understood that this was a stand that I wanted to take. I did not want to take the stand of a victim. I didn't feel I was a victim. I felt, when I ended up in having to go into exile and everything that happened because of it, this was my choice. I took a choice to take part in this in this uprising in Nicaragua, and that led to to the life that I have now, that comes together with all the struggles that came with it. But it's something that I chose, right? And this for me is very important, like the getting away from victimizing ourselves, and to understanding that yes, life can be difficult, but these are most of the time struggles that we chose in one way or another. And when it gets really, really difficult, and when we're in places where we have conflict and we have oppression and we have like all these violations of human rights and things like that, the closer you get to challenge them, the more heat you tend to get, and the more heat you have to withstand. But this is also a choice, and for me, it's very important to take into consideration that every day of my life has been my choice, and that everyone that has been in this journey with me, in the case of Nicaragua, in this journey of trying to take down a dictatorship and move towards a democracy, and all the people that have suffered because of it, it was our choice. Like, we decided to take a stand, and we knew that it was going to be rough, no? So it's like, so I think this is really the key, understanding that nothing happens just because, that we have a role in our lives, that we are the captains of our ship, and that we have to take accountability for this as well, and we have to own it. We have to own our lives. We have to own our mistakes. We have to own our pains, and we have to let the other people also do the same with their lives, no, and give them room. This can happen.
Yes, there are so many valuable messages, like in what you mentioned. Just to pick a few, what really grabbed my attention was that everybody has their own difficulties, and we should not compare those to each other, and we should help each other because we genuinely want to help, not because we feel guilty that we are doing better than the other person. And I think that could be with our families as well, that just genuinely helping each other, helping ourselves, our friends, our family, and then the world, then the generations. So that genuine feeling that I want to help is the most important. And then, as you mentioned, we are like nature, connected by our roots. So then we should understand that this connection to nature, do you feel like it's lacking in the world, in, for example, in Europe, compared to what you experienced when you were growing up?
For sure. It's like closed, like it's a completely different thing. um and I may not have enough information to talk about this, because I haven't been a part of the European society for long enough to have a clear idea of this. But from what I have experienced in my own life, is that nature is seen a lot like scenery. um it seemed like, the beauty part of it is perceived, and the health part of it, of being in contact with nature, is perceived. But it's perceived as how we see, exercising regularly is good for you, or like having a proper diet is good for you, or like not not binging on certain vices is good for you, but really to that understanding. And I haven't seen much more depth than that. The struggle that we have with climate crisis, and the way that it's being portrayed in Europe is, um, it's a natural resource that we are depleting, and that we urgently need to get back so that we can back to be good again,
Mm.
no, to feel safe again, to like, not deal with things like COVID, for example. So it's seen kind of like as a buffer zone, rather than this incredible nurturing entity, that makes sure that to keep you alive regardless of our stupid choices, no. In Nicaragua, I used to work a lot with the indigenous communities, because I used to work in the research center for water, and we had a lot of, let's say, work together with the indigenous community. And yeah, I mean, like, obviously, like, indigenous communities are like completely different, like, across the globe, no. But I think there is this sort of like common trademark in the relationship with nature, in the relationship with life, um, into a much, probably like a much holistic or like comprehensive way than what we have in the idea of the Western world, right? Which is, three equals IKEA table, and IKEA table equals money.
Yes, unfortunately, yes.
So, in the relationship that we have with nature, especially when it comes to our indigenous roots, is is a family relationship. Is, when we go into the rainforest, we ask for permission. So we stand on the boundaries of the rainforest, and we ask for permission to the rainforest to go in. We understand that nature can kill you just like that, if it wants to. And there is really not much that you can do about it. If you get bitten by a snake in the rainforest, you're pretty much done. Like, there's really not much to do about it. Like, a million euros won't save you from death there. Uh, but but understanding that there is this connection in which you can ask for permission to this, higher entity, and this higher entity that encompasses all the living elements that are in it, has this consciousness and this wisdom, and is able to communicate with you and to agree with you that you will have safe passage within the realms. That's completely different. That's completely different to the understanding that we have, from nature here. And it's kind of like, what we're talking about. We see the tree, and we see like an IKEA table, and from the IKEA table we see money if we can sell it, and that's it. Whereas in my case, for example, I was when I was born, um, a tree was planted on that day at my house. That tree is still there. So I grew up with that tree, and that was my tree when I was a kid. Like, my parents told me, this is your tree. This was planted when you were born. You have a connection with this tree, so you nourish this tree. Back in, before I came here, uh, I was not living at my parents' house anymore. I was working in the research center, for quite some time, and but when I would go to the capital city, I would stay at my parents' house, because I don't have a house in the capital city, and that's where this tree was. So every time I would go there, I still have this relationship into, like, sitting next to the tree, like you sit next to a friend, and just having that feeling that you're going back to someone that has been with you their whole life. Now, if someone at some point decides to cut that tree down, they're going to make a powerful enemy with me. It's like, because that tree and we have a very long connection going on, and this is this is completely different from the relationship that I have seen here with nature, and it's conceptually different. So yeah, I think that's we're really missing that part. That part is so nourishing in life, understanding that you can have a relationship with nature allows you to never be alone, because there is very few places on earth that you can go that you will not see nature around you in any sort of way. Like, even if you go to like the most arid place on the planet, like, a dying tree will be there, like a lizard or something. And this is your connection. You're never really alone. These are like sentient entities that they relate to you. So getting to that understanding helps you beat the sense of loneliness, helps you beat the sense of being alone in this world. If you ever lose your parents, for example, or if you ever break up a relationship, or if you ever lose your friends, you can always go to a place where where there is trees, and you will feel accompanied. You will feel like you're surrounded by caring creatures around you, that will listen to you. And one thing that happens with nature that is I have never experienced it any other way is and is that your ego disappears. Like, the ability we're constantly in this comparison mode. Like, this is like from the moment that we wake up in the day to when we go to bed at night, we're constantly comparing ourselves, even if we don't want to, but it's like, I think it's like a basic way of living life for us. And and this is something that when you go alone into a forest and there are no other humans but you, this part of you that is constantly comparing you to everyone, has no point. So it ceases to work. It sort of like shuts down. And when that happens, there is this level of peacefulness that comes into you that makes you understand that part of your life was using so much energy, was using so much mind power, brain power at every single time of the day. And then when it shuts down, that you don't need it, you feel like, whoa, it's like I have all this attention and awareness, because I don't have to be constantly checking out, if like my hair is okay, if like I smell funky or like whatever, because just the forest doesn't care. The forest is
Yeah.
happy that you're there. And like, if you don't destroy anything, you're always welcome. And if you walk a little bit, then it may even feed you something nice. I think everything that has to do with really like our connection with nature, and our connection with the roots, and our connection with this sort of like ancient wisdom, no, is really powerful in our lives. Like for me, like I still get when there's like full moons, we used to do the indigenous full moon ceremonies, which are like very very common part of their tradition. So yeah, every time when I see like a full moon, still I get a little bit of the nostalgic feeling of being, and sort of like in an event that had such a profound connection with the moon in this case, and with nature. And sort of like for them in Nika is very connected to the feminine energy, is very connected to nourishment, is very connected to rest, to change. So it has like very nice elements into it that really make a very powerful experience. And yeah, I think I definitely miss that part of life when I have my life here in the Netherlands. This is something that I really want in my work to to get into at some point here in Europe, to help develop a little bit, this connection that we have with nature,
Mhm.
that is so valuable and so powerful. And really, when I think about, the life of people that don't have this connection, I understand why people get depressed, you know. I understand why people have like super bad days and they feel super alone and like unheard and all these things. It's like then yeah, you always need someone to hear you out. And we humans, we don't like to hear that much because we like talking better, no? So it's like it's a struggle.
Yes, that's also very true. And then when now you had to go on exile, like now you don't have a chance to sit with your tree anymore. Have you found a tree here? Did you name like you are gonna be my new tree? And how do you build that connection now? How was that feeling leaving home, finding your new place here?
Yeah, I was I had the it was really nice when I because when I came to Europe, I first came to Luxembourg. It was really nice. Um, Here in The Hague, there is close to where I live, there is a dog park that has some nice trees there, and it's very close. So I go very often there, and I actually found a trunk. So I had like a chopped tree, no? And someone wrote in it on you know, on the part that is, someone wrote in it, uh, how was it? It was I used to be beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like as in, you know, when it was not chopped. So that sort of like became my meditation spot. So I went and I sat on that chopped trunk, and somehow it really made me have this connection to this idea of having a personality, of the tree having a personality and being able to tell you, you know, like I used to be beautiful, but now like they chopped me. So it's like this is what I am right now. That links a lot to me with the personality of nature. And yeah, it gives me a little bit of that feeling. Um, it's hard to be in nature here, to be honest, because it's really cold most of the time.
Yes.
So yeah, being outside is not as pleasant as I remember it. So yeah, that's it's a little bit of a struggle. I haven't been able to get the full sense at any point since I've been here. Um, but yeah, it's there in one way or another. It never leaves you, you know. When once you have it, it's the planet. Wherever you go is you will feel this connection. When I go to the sea, for example, I get like the same feeling of this you know, the sea for us is like the rainforest in a way, you know. It has this entity that has this sentient entity, you know. It's like the water is a sentient entity that nourishes everything around it, and everything that touches. It's an entity that cleans, that helps us live, you know. So you find a way to get this connection almost wherever you go, no, almost wherever you go. Like I think if you're looking, you'll get to see. If you're not paying attention, you know, you're going to like hit the tree in the face, and it's like you're not going to feel it, no. So yeah.
It's all about searching. Did this connection help you to get settled after arriving to Europe? You needed to find a place to stay. You needed to find a new family, a new friendships, a new community. How did you handle those struggles?
Yeah, they really did a big part. No, it's when I was in the refugee camps here. So I was in refugee camps here in the Netherlands, and then I was in refugee camps in Luxembourg as well. And these are rough places, to be honest. They're not. I mean, it's awesome that we have them. It's also because I come from a part of the planet where we don't have these things. So if you ever go into exile to Nicaragua, for example, you're on your own. It's like you're on, like if you don't have a job, you starve to death. There is no sort of like secure social security system that will keep you alive, no. um and then you go from there to like the refugee camps here, where you get food, for example, and you get like a roof and you get a bed and stuff like that. So like huge improvement in that sense. But still rough, you know. Like it's still a rough situation. The camps are not super nice. People in the camps are struggling by, like fleeing from like, it's kind of like where you come from. It's like, I come from here. It's like, oh, you guys are like even worse than us. So it's a really like not a nourishing environment. um and for me it was really hard. So what I did most of the time was go out of the camps and just pick a park, look, walk to a park, find a park. I was like, Google Maps was like, for me, it's like, let's find a green patch around, and let's walk towards that green patch. And and that was a sense of freedom. That was a sense of freedom that allowed me to go through it, to not feel constrained by the reality that was overwhelmingly present at that moment for me. That was also the same that I used when I was um, like when I was put in prison. Is the feeling of constraint that I had. I could, in my mind, I could close my eyes and just imagine myself, being at a rainforest or being at the beach or something like that. And that idea helps you deal with this massive reality constraints that are so present there. So I think that was a fundamental part for keeping mental health, focus, ease of ease of flow in life, which is difficult in situations like this. But nature is an amazing advisor. No, it's an amazing counselor. So, like, it's incredible what like 20-30 minutes just like walking in a place with trees can do to your mind. There's a lot of things that you feel that there's no way out. And there's like this peacefulness of this just beings just like standing there over years, and just like, it's fine, man, just like, you're gonna deal with it. Just, you have legs, don't complain. We cannot move. So,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I never thought of it like that. Yeah, I had multiple hikes when I was traveling, and spending 1 year in nature just truly changed my life. I had so many realizations during those times, just walking. And then you suddenly have a realization like, yeah, I need to let go of this, and then I need to let go of that. We have been talking about indigenous people, the nature, and I've told you about my mission of bringing back ancient wisdoms. What is an ancient and old wisdom that you have learned and you think is valuable to implement in the modern world?
I think when it comes to Asian wisdom and what you can implement into it is is this idea of that we're standing on the shoulder of giants. No, it's this idea that it took billions of years of evolutions to create the humans that we are now. We are this insanely like super high tech machinery, that we have at our use. And and this concept that we're also all made of stars in a way, that there's this eternal part, built into our core, into our DNA, that resonates with just the rest of the universe. This gives you a lot of security. Like this if you know that there's parts of you that are as powerful as, like, a supernova was like millions or billions of years ago. That's the part of ancient wisdom that I feel it's important to always have into consideration, that we're not a fluke. It's we're not like, humans have incredible potential. Like, the way that we can shape the world that we live in is unseen. um and this didn't happen overnight. Nature put a lot of work into it, and it's betting a lot on us. Right now it's losing the bet, badly. It's up to us to change that situation. But it's that there's so much in us that is so ancient, and that we can always tap into that. You always have that, like, this is part of you. It's not going anywhere. And if you want to just go back into how everything was created, just ask yourself, like, somewhere in you the answer must be there. Like, all the answers are somewhere in you. It's just a matter of looking hard enough and waiting enough, and getting the job done. But that would be it. Yeah.
I have so many questions to ask from Chale, and I did not manage to get that in this episode. I have just went through the flow because I found his message to be so captivating and his story so important to share with the world. If you, as a listener, feel the same and would like to learn more about Chale, then join us next week where we are going to talk about impossible challenges. Until then, if you would like to check out Chale's work with the Hague Peace Projects, go to thehaguepeace.org and read more about their impressive efforts. And what was your favorite take on this episode? I would love to hear that from you on the comments. Also, if you have any questions to me, feel free to send me a message on social media. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram, or send me an email to ontheballwitheniko@gmail.com. If you have a guest suggestion or would like to hear from a specific expert on a specific topic, share that with me as well, and I would be doing my very best to fulfill your requests. If you found this episode motivating, make sure that you share it with others and text this to your friend right now who you think would be inspired by this story. The best way to live a happy and fulfilled life is to serve others. So share this episode with people you care about. It has no cost, but will elevate them and make their lives even better. If this is your first time here, click that love and subscribe buttons and make sure that you leave a rating and review. I would love to hear your thoughts and feedback on how this message lifted you up, brought you a change into your life. I would also love to hear your own definition of success. I'm so grateful for your support, sending love and great health to you all. And now it is time for you to be on the ball.